In the movie American Psycho, we follow the exploits of Patrick Bateman, a 27-year-old Wall Street investment banker who, much like everyone around him, is deeply immersed in his own world of wealth and privilege. However, Patrick Bateman is a little extra than the rest, as he's extremely self-centered, has a fragile ego, and not surprisingly has a very strict self-care routine, which has helped him become a very handsome man, to say the least. But he's still rude to his secretary, doesn't pay attention to his fiancée, and occasionally fantasizes about murdering people who don't show him respect. Patrick is a deeply disturbed human being, and he finally snaps one day when he finds his business card is nowhere near as fine as his colleague Paul Allen's. The subtle off-white coloring, the tasteful thickness, and the presence of a watermark in Paul Allen's card gets Patrick so enraged that to take out the frustration of it, he goes on to kill a homeless man and his dog. With that, Patrick loses all sense of control, becomes bloodthirsty, and if that was enough, Paul Allen has been mistaking Patrick for someone else, further hurting his fragile ego. So one night, Patrick gets Paul drunk, takes him home, and brutally murders him with his axe. While disposing of the dead body, Patrick gets noticed by his colleague Lewis, but Patrick plays cool and breaks into Paul Allen's apartment and makes it look like he went out on vacation. But it doesn't take long for one detective named Donald Kimball to come knocking and inquire Patrick about Paul Allen's mysterious disappearance. The long and strange question-answer sessions leave Patrick confused as to whether he's a suspect or not. All in all, Patrick seems fine with Paul gone, until Lewis decides to show off his gold-foiled business card. Enraged, Patrick attempts to murder Lewis, but is stopped when Lewis happily mistakes him for being gay. With Detective Donald Kimball still on his tail, Patrick is stressed, and with all the rage that's inside him, he commits yet another murder and keeps the head of this victim in his refrigerator. And if that wasn't enough, he invites his lovely secretary the next night, and while his date is shyly engaging the conversation, Patrick is busy picking his choice of weapon. But surprisingly, Patrick decides not to go through with it, and his secretary leaves unscathed. The next night, Detective Donald Kimball informs Patrick that he's no longer a suspect, as his friends claim to have had dinner with him the night Paul Allen disappeared. Moreover, Detective Kimball also tells him that Paul Allen was reportedly spotted somewhere in London. With this new revelation, Patrick is left confused and begins to wonder if he really murdered Paul Allen or if it was just his imagination. Nevertheless, Patrick is not changed, as he takes a sex worker to Paul Allen's apartment and later brutally murders her by dropping a chainsaw on top of her while she's trying to escape. Patrick has gone crazy, and his constant hunger for homicidal behavior ultimately leads to his own downfall. While getting interrupted when he's about to kill a cat, Patrick shoots an old woman to death and gets chased down by cops. He later kills the police officers and even blows up a police car, which Patrick himself is left perplexed by. However, Patrick doesn't stop there, as he kills two more innocent men before hiding in his office. He then calls his lawyer Harold Carnes and frantically leaves a confession claiming to have killed 20 to 40 people, and even attempting to eat their brains. The next morning, Bateman visits Allen's apartment to clean his mess, but finds it vacant and for sale. The bodies he had hidden there are no longer there. And what really shocks Patrick is when the realtor tells him that the apartment doesn't belong to Paul Allen. Meanwhile, Patrick's secretary goes through his journal and finds detailed drawings of every murder that Patrick committed, or rather, believes to have committed. Patrick, on the other hand, sees Carnes, who, just like Paul Allen, mistakes him for someone else. Patrick quickly corrects him and mentions the phone message. Carnes then laughs off the confession as a joke. Patrick aggressively insists that he did murder Paul Allen and many others, but Carnes simply refuses to believe him, as he had dinner with Paul Allen just a few days ago in London. Patrick is shocked, and he finally realizes he never murdered Paul Allen. The movie ends with Patrick coming to terms that he's a sick human being with no feelings or attachment, and he wishes death upon everyone. And the movie ends ambiguously, never telling the audience if Patrick really is a serial killer or if it was just all in his head. Honestly, I could go on for hours about this movie. It's just a genuine masterpiece and a perfect master class in cinematography and script writing. It's just so good. But that's the end of the video. If you enjoyed what you just watched and would like to watch more of these minute recaps, please like this video and subscribe to the channel to never miss out on any future videos.